welcome to Board Game Breakfast. Yeah! I don't know what I'm cheering about, but hey, it's spring. Well, for some of the country anyway. I hear that people are still getting snow, and we might see a little bit of snow ourselves this week. This week, myself, Sam, and Z are heading to the Gathering of Friends. It's a small little convention in Niagara Falls. Now, in the past, we have gone up to Snakes and Lattes in Toronto on a trip. That trip is not scheduled this year, but I'm trying to work out a way to go up. However, I don't know when we'll be able to slide up there. So if so, we'll announce it on our Twitter feed. So if you want to see whether we're going or not, check our Twitter. And if so, we hope to see some of you there. But this will be a chance for us to get to play a lot of new games. But there's a lot of different things coming up in the future. I'm going to be at the Geekway to the West with Colossal Games. In May, I'll be at a homeschool convention in Orlando, Florida in May. And also in May, I will be going to the UK Games Expo. So we hope to see many of you at those places. We're also going to be doing a live streaming event the day before Tabletop Day. We'll be doing a live role-playing game, a continuation of that, but also some board games. So mark that on your calendars, kind of the build-in to Tabletop Day, streaming from the Dice Tower. All right, so you're here for, not that, probably, you're here for the news. So let's get started. All right, in the news today, first of all, unfortunately, there is negative news occasionally, and this would be one of those times. Kickstarter scandal. A company called Borders in Singapore and Malaysia was basically taking bulk orders, then splitting them up between lots of people for lots of Kickstarters. And it looks like tens of thousands of dollars and no product is showing up. And this is kind of an unfortunate thing. And I don't mention this to put them down or anything, but again, we live in a time where it's really important when you work with companies and things to look and see what their track record is. And if they have no track record, what do? I mean, it's a tough thing out there. So this is unfortunate. Hopefully this will be resolved. Yellow has a couple things. First of all, they have a calendar contest. Show their characters, their games in the wild, and you can win things. Yellow also has announced their next monster pack for King of Tokyo / King of New York, and that is Anubis. This is their new monster pack. Now, that looks cool and everything, but Yellow, we're calling you out here. If you're going to keep releasing all this stuff, we need a box to put it in. Where's our King of Tokyo Deluxe box? All right, Games Workshop has announced the game Lord of the Rings Quest to Mount Doom. In which game? The board here. Oh, the board looks boring. The miniatures look okay, but the board is boring looking. In this game, you are trying to get the ring and take it to Mount Doom and throw it in the fire, blah, blah, blah. So are all the other players. And in fact, you are fighting the other players and trying to keep the fact that you have the ring hidden. So you might be playing Aragorn and I might be playing Frodo, and we're playing against each other trying to get the ring in Mount Doom. I don't remember seeing that in the books or the movies. Starship Samurai has been announced from Plaid Hat Games. This game looks amazing. Designed by Isaac Vega. It is a 2 to 4 player game, which you're trying to claim the Emperor's throne. You have these spaceships. It's like the samurai space theme, and the miniatures, I saw them at Gen Con last year, are amazing. The Secret Cabal podcast is having their annual Kickstarter. They are one of the podcasts in the Dice Tower Network, which is why I mentioned them. And they put out weekly podcasts and all sorts of things, so you can go check them out. And please back them. There's a new game coming out called Poetry Slam from Adam Wise. This is where you're going to get people to guess clues by composing rhyming couplets. I can see that one going really south in some groups. Ares Games has announced Battlestar Galactica. Whoa! Starship Battles. Okay, I'm not as excited. But Battlestar Galactica Starship Battles, people probably been looking for that. Kind of like a Wings of War thing, maybe. But either way, we know that they're coming painted and assembled, which is a big deal for miniature games. And finally, Trade on Tigris has been announced from Tasty Minstrel Games. This is from Ryan Sturm and Jeff Engelstein. This game was originally called Trading in the Mediterranean. This game was originally designed as a shot at myself because I'm always putting down Trading in the Mediterranean games, and Ryan Sturm says, can we design a Trading in the Mediterranean game that's actually interesting and Tom will like? And so he and Jeff talked about it on their podcast, Ludology, for a long time about how they were designing this. And I honestly thought the project was gone, but it's back. The name has been changed to Trade on Tigris. We will see. There's so much pressure when I see this game to see if I like it or not. But Jeff is a good designer, so we'll have to wait and find out. All right, that's the regular news. Onward and over to Kickstarter.
Happy breakfast, everybody. In today's crowdfunding roundup, we have some new additions, some new expansions, and some dessert. So let's get going. The out-of-print Crisis is getting a second edition from Ludi Creations. In this worker placement game, you are an investor during a massive economic breakdown. You'll have to use your cash and your victory points to try and save your country from collapse by investing in industry, building up companies, hiring employees, and producing goods. Crisis balances and scales using austerity plans that change based on player count and game difficulty. You can cut corners to make deals happen, but you have to balance that against the risk that creates for bankruptcy, which will end the game before the planned 7 rounds. There's also the brand new economy expansion that includes new company cards that replace the base game set, but you mix up these new cards, adding additional variability. You can get the deluxe edition of Crisis, including the fancy wooden bits, for a pledge of $59 plus shipping, or both the base and expansion for $68 plus shipping. Filler is a hand-building game about filling pastries. There's so much wordplay going on here in Green Couch Games' latest offering. In Filler, you're working to fill recipes using cards from your hand, which will get you more recipe cards, which give you more ingredients so that you can fill more recipe cards. Time indicators on each card will be used to establish turn order, and some cards have a special action when you fill it. Filled recipe cards go into your hand, and played cards go into a discard, and it takes an action to reclaim your discard back to your deck. Filler is the kind of game that makes me hungry just looking at it, and a copy of this sweet little one takes a pledge of just $15 plus shipping. The Estates is Capstone Games' latest offering in their Simply Complex line. A remake of the out-of-print and in-demand game Neue Heimat, The Estates is a competitive auction game of city building. Players work to build up their estates by gaining different building pieces like floors and roofs and even permits, and you get those through auctions. But there's a twist. Every player gets to be the auctioneer, and just because you win the bid doesn't guarantee that you win the piece, because the auctioneer can step in and pay you and then take that piece. The Estates features great quality components and is well loved as a deep game with simple rules and really cutthroat play, all in a relatively quick game. You can get a copy of The Estates for a pledge of $49 plus shipping. Simon Games is bringing Zombicide into the sci-fi zone with Zombicide Invader. This is a cooperative game for up to 6 players, and it includes 10 unique missions. Basically, on a remote mining world, you've made a terrifying discovery, and you must race to secure your facility against a Xeno invasion. Civilians and soldiers have different strengths and weaknesses that come into play as you search for equipment and weapons. And if you venture onto the planet's surface, make sure you're prepped correctly for the environment. Use drones to lure away enemies, and manage the spread of an alien mold. There's also an optional Black Ops expansion that allows up to 12 players to play at the same time. And of course, this game is stuffed full of high-quality miniatures. You can get the base game of Zombicide Invader for a pledge of $100 plus shipping. Last but not least, Tramway's Engineer's Workbook is a standalone puzzle game for solo or 2-player play. Now, Tramways is a meaty rail game from Alban VR. But the Engineer's Workbook takes some of those core elements of Tramways and turns it into kind of a roll-and-write puzzle game book without the rolling. You'll work to achieve each game's goal by drawing rail lines and using your tickets smartly because they're all limited. And the puzzles get harder with more parameters added as you proceed. Tramway's Engineer's Workbook comes in a book form made of plastic pages so that you can write and erase with dry erase pens on them. And if you're interested in tramways, this book can actually be used to kind of help you ease into the mechanisms of that heavier game. Tramway's Engineer's Workbook takes a pledge of $25 plus shipping. Okay, that's all I've got for you this episode. Hopefully something caught your eye. And until next time, I hope you have a wonderful week.
Two brothers set loose in a thrift store. This is Thrift Store Throwbacks.
I just can't be a normal person, man.
No, we sure can't.
Sorry. What's up, board game breakfast eaters? Nom nom. We are the brothers Murph.
We are.
We're the guys that squeal and scream a lot.
That's annoying, isn't it?
It's terrible. But we have a sort of special episode right now. As you can see, there's no board game in front of us. There's no shenanigans because
This is a special day, Nick. Why is it special?
It's a special day because this is going to be our year anniversary on the Dice Tower.
Swoon.
Whoa. Yeah, we just wanted to make a kind of like a thank you video. We watched the Dice Tower. We love board games and stuff. And Tom put out a call for contributors. And we just we're like, yeah, we'll go for it.
Give it a go.
You know, maybe it'll be something we do like every few weeks. And it's just exploded into this whole world that we had no idea that we could be a part of, you know, in terms of content creation and being on the Dice Tower, meeting so many wonderful people, both in terms of people who watch the Dice Tower, people who are on the Dice Tower. We've then now started our own YouTube channel for board games, The Brothers Murph. And if you like our content here, please feel free to subscribe over there because we also do our own stuff. If you like what you do here, there's way more of it over there, and it's way louder.
It's just a chance for us to celebrate the joy of board gaming, which I think is why everyone is here. And another great thing that happened over the last year is we got to meet some really cool people from the Dice Tower, namely Dan Hughes, Matthew Jude, and Dave Luza. Fellow contributors here on Board Game Breakfast, and now we're super good friends with them, and we all do a podcast together called This Game is Broken. And I did not see that coming ever. Thankfully, Dan Hughes likes us just enough to keep us around.
He told me once.
He said, all right then. And we're like, well, I think that's the best we're ever going to get out of that guy.
That's right. That's fair.
We get to do this super fun podcast. We're actually going to do it at Dice Tower Con live, which is amazing.
We started streaming on Twitch, and I mean the chat in our Twitch channel is literally everything board gaming should be. It's just inviting and so fun and warm and loving.
It's all love.
And just an absolute blast. So if you haven't checked out our Twitch, do it just for the chat. I mean, it's really wonderful.
Come be a part of Team Bing Bong, man.
Yeah, Team Bing Bong, baby, for life.
But again, we just want to say thank you to Tom, Sam, Z, everyone at the Dice Tower, all the other contributors, everyone that watches us and puts up with our silly shenanigans and thrift store gamery. We really appreciate it.
We love you so much. Thank you for all the love and support. It means more than you could ever know.
So what are you going to see from the Dice Tower this week? Well, I'm not going to be doing as many reviews this week. And instead, I'm going to do something a lot of people have asked for, and that's a continuation of the history of the Dice Tower. And so you will see 6 more histories of the Dice Tower this week. I kind of slowed down to where I'm doing it. Each year is a whole episode at this point. So keep an eye out for that. I'm also going to be doing some top 10s of educational games to teach things. I want to work hard to make the Dice Tower. I've always been a proponent of using games as into education. So I got some of those coming. And then Sam Z and me have done our top 10 sci-fi games that are not space. We already did our top 10 space-themed games. These are the ones that don't have space in them. So that will come out, and I'll be doing the best of Wolfgang Kramer and Friedemann Fries. Lots of cool things. Sam and Z are doing things. You might see some live stuff from the Gathering of Friends from us. I'm not sure how that's going to work, but Jason Levine is there, and he wants to do some live interviews. So normally we schedule our live stuff at dicetowerlive.com. But it's going to be kind of hard to schedule these too much ahead of time, so just keep an eye on the channel, and they might pop up at various points. All right.
Hi, Mike Delisio from Solomode Games, with another edition of Talking About Gaming Solo, where I take questions, comments from the Dice Tower Facebook group. And if you haven't checked that out yet, you really need to hop on it. It's a great community, a lot of fun. Today's question is from Billy Guinigundo, and I really apologize if I got the name wrong, Billy. But Billy asks, what do you do when you have a rules question? Will you avoid a questionable play, consult YouTube, BGG, Dice Tower group? Well, that's a really good question, Billy, because I've kind of done all of those things. I will tell you that I can be a little bit stubborn. If I have some questions or concerns, I have paused games for over an hour to try to look things up before. Not ideal, but when I'm playing by myself, I feel like I have that freedom. So I will look up, Board Game Geek is usually my first go-to, but I have gone on to YouTube and I've tried other methods, even going to friends of mine that I know that might have played the game before. I'll do that. I can tell you this, that when there's ambiguity and I'm not sure on how to take a move, I'm always going to fall back to the thing that would actually be less beneficial for me because I don't want to feel like I've got a tainted game. So if there's a ambiguous rule and it can go one of either ways, I'm going to go the way that will get me the least amount of points or make me least likely to win in that scenario. That's just how I've done it in the past. But I don't know if there's a right or wrong way. But that's actually a really good question, and I'm glad you brought it up because it's yet another thing that I do like about solo gaming is that when I get a rule wrong, and goodness knows I do that from time to time, when I get a rule wrong and it's just me playing, I just chalk it up to just another thing. But if I'm teaching a game to friends or to anybody for that matter, and I get a rule wrong, it really, really makes me feel horrible. So here's another thing. I'm only harming myself in that case, I guess. So thank you so much for your question and keep them coming. Thank you so much for your time and have a great day.
Hey there everyone, it's Jen, the board game librarian, flipping some pages and pushing some cubes with this week's segment of From the Page to the Table. Over the years that I've run classics book clubs at libraries, we've read a lot of what are considered to be children's literature, one of which is Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson. So much of what we believe and know about pirates today really does come from this book. I feel like we all know this story too. It's very familiar to us. We're all pirates looking for buried treasure on an island. It's kind of a timeless story, made perhaps even more timeless by one of my kind of guilty pleasure movies, Muppet Treasure Island. Super fun book, very readable at any age, I think. So again, there's a lot of pirate games out there, but one that captures to me one of the essences of the book, the pirates searching for buried treasure on an island, is Dead Man's Doubloons, published by Thundergriff Games and designed by a Connecticut designer, Jason Maselli. 2 to 6 players, 45 or more minutes, and you are pirates searching for buried treasure on an island. I was lucky enough that Jason lives very close by and stopped in at my board game group at my library, Silk City Board Game Group, along with his team of people from Geek Fever Games. This is a programming game, and what's wonderful about this particular game is that it has a duality of the cards as well. On the top, you are using that function for your ships, and you are shooting each other, you're bombarding, you're stealing treasure, and then there's 2 parts with the cards that if your programming doesn't go as planned, you have some backup as well. Has a really cool opportunity to become a ghost ship as well, which I think is really fun, and that you're racing against other pirates to get your treasure. That's all this week. I'll see you on Instagram, and read on.
What's up, everyone? I'm Danny.
And I'm Derek, and this is
You Bet Your Bippy. In this segment, we're going to give you some fun facts about a specific game so you can strike up a conversation at your next game night. And this week's game is...
Dinosaur Island.
Dinosaur Island is a worker placement game where everybody's competing to build the best theme park based around your favorite childhood theme, dinosaurs. Hey, Derek.
Hey.
Did you know in 1842, the English naturalist Sir Richard Owen coined the term dinosaur? In Greek, dinos means fearfully great, and saurus means lizard. Also, there are over 700 extinct species of dinosaurs, and fossils have been found on all 7 continents.
Even Antarctica?
You bet your bippy.
Well, did you know that the Triceratops actually has a 15-horn cousin called the Cosmoceratops, and it is believed to be native to what is now known as the state of Utah.
Cosmos? 15? Utah?
You bet your bippy.
Well, did you know that paleontologists believe that despite what you see on TV and the movie theaters, dinosaurs actually don't make any noise. So no dinosaurs have ever been found with vocal cords or air sacs to make those noises. So their form of communication is mostly visual and nonverbal.
Wow. It's funny that you mentioned that too, because actually the T-Rex from Jurassic Park, did you know this? It was actually the noise or recording of a walrus. However, the sound was a little manipulated to prolong a scarier, fun roar coming from it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Now let's hear your best walrus T-Rex roar.
So, did you know any of those fun facts about dinosaurs? Or do you have any fun facts of your own you'd like to share with us? please do so in the comments below.
And make sure you guys follow us all over social media. We're on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube.
Thanks for watching, and we will see you next week.
Happy breakfast, everybody.
Happy breakfast. Good Lord, I really want some bacon right now.
Hey, hello there, and welcome to another adventure of a known board gamer, where my friend Jesse and I travel around the country, and I try to teach Jesse a new game every week, and maybe turn him into a board gamer. Who knows? What did we play this week, Jesse?
This was an interesting game. It's called Artifacts Inc. It's by Red Raven.
Tell me a little bit about the game. Do you remember how the gameplay goes?
Well, it's dice driven, and you actually have workers, and you purchase artifacts like papyrus, gems, fossils, and your ultimate goal is to purchase artifacts and sell them to the museums and gain points in doing that.
You were just not getting the roles you wanted at the time.
Well, I came close to winning, so...
You did. I was Jesse did really well. We played that game, was that twice, right?
At least twice.
Yeah. You did really well, yeah.
Overall, I thought it was a good game.
Yeah, I think it's a perfect traveling game, and maybe I will do a series on, since we travel so much, I will do a series on traveling game. This is one of my favorite traveling game. And actually, Red Ravens has a couple games that are excellent. Maybe we'll play another one of them, the 8 Minute in Cars, and try to see that as well. So, thumbs up, thumbs down, what was your...
It was okay. I wouldn't rate it excellent. I think that if you have more than 2 players, it becomes a little bit more involved and interesting.
I might have to start contact some local game groups as we travel around the country and maybe get involved a little more players. I know we played one game with more people and you enjoy much better. So, yeah, maybe I'll post the cities we'll be around, and hey, maybe you can invite us for some games. I appreciate you guys. Thanks, and see you guys next week. Happy breakfast.
Happy breakfast.
Hey folks, designing a game. Inside every gamer is a game designer. That's not quite actually true, but so this has come to my mind because just this week, I think it's going to happen this week, where Game Salute is going to be announcing the revised version of Nothing Personal. And you will note that my name is not on the cover of this one. It's Steve Avery and Cody Jones. Now this is, people are going to ask about this, of course. And so what happened here in this situation is I really didn't want to be working on the Nothing Personal project anymore. And so I've given the rights completely over to Game Salute and Steve Avery, who's a great guy, great designer. And so he's going to be working with them to do the revised version of this game. Inside the rules, it will probably say original design by Tom Vasel. But they're going to take it in different directions. And so that's just, people are going to ask about it. And that's where we are on that project. And some people say, well, wait, where is this? What's the next game you're designing? And I've been asked that. I've designed a total of 2 games. Vicious Fishes, which has sold less than 50 copies, I think. Area control game about putting fish down. And Nothing Personal with Steve Avery. I, last year, designed another game, which I shopped around to several publishers, and actually had several publishers tell me they were interested in publishing it. And yet it never happened. And why didn't it happen? Because I wasn't 100% happy with the design. I'm not 100% happy with where the game is. I thought it was a good game, but I don't know that I necessarily wanted to design a good game. But a lot of it also is the fact that I'm just not that interested in designing, which I know is kind of weird to people because they're like, doesn't everyone want to design a game? Well, designing a game is a lot of work. See, one of the things that I like doing is I like playing games. When you design a game, you got to play your own game a lot. And I don't necessarily want to play one game a lot. Even my favorite game, Cosmic Encounter, that's not Skip. One of my favorite games, Cosmic Encounter, my second favorite game currently. I went to a Cosmic Encounter convention and we played it and it was fun 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 and then they played it again and I was like, that's still fun, but I kind of want to play something else. And so I went and played some other games too because I don't want to keep playing the same games over and over and over again, even if I love them. I love variety. But if you design a game, you kind of got to play your own game a lot. And I'm not also sure that everyone is a designer inside. Not everyone has that spark. I don't think I do. I think nothing personal. A lot of people liked it, and I'm pleased for that. And a lot of that was Steve Avery. He did a good chunk of that game. And I'm glad that people liked it, but I don't look at myself as any kind of brilliant game designer. I don't look at things and go, this is an idea. But I do look at other people, and I look at many of the game designers of these games behind me, and I do think that they are brilliant. Now, I'm not going to go around and discourage someone. They're like, I have a new game to design. You, kid? No, it's foolishness, right? Anyone can do anything they want. And if you want to be a game designer, you can be a game designer. You got to put a lot of effort, a lot of sweat, a lot of tears into it. But there's always going to be people who are talented at things and better at things, and those people will do it far greater than I will. Some of you are thinking, Tom, you're not even talented at the Dice Tower. Well, that's probably true. But I have found that this is something that I enjoy. And the Dice Tower Network and Dice Tower Podcast, Dice Tower Video, and all this stuff has really, really increased over the past years. And I found that it's my passion. And this is something I've said a long time ago, is to find your passion and pursue that. Now, I'm not ruling out the idea that I will never design another game. This game that I designed last year is still floating around, and maybe I'll finish it up and get it published at some point. So I'm not saying that will ever happen, but I found my passion. I meet a lot of game designers who their passion is to design a board game, but they haven't found someone to publish it, so they publish it themselves. But their passion isn't to be a game publisher. And I met different people in the industry who their passion is to do one thing and they're kind of doing another thing. And I've always believed it's important to follow your passion. Now, it's also important to provide for your family and to, contribute to society. And there's lots of, different things that are important to do. But right now, at this point in time, game designing is my passion. So why should I do it? Should I do it because I want to see my name on a game box? I don't think that's a really good reason. It was neat to see my name on a game box. It's neat to see people review, sometimes positively, the games that you put out. Yeah, that's a neat thing. But, you're not going to make tons of money from game designing unless you have a big, huge selling game. So you're not doing it for the money. You're doing it because of the passion for doing it. And I don't sit around going, ooh, I think I have a new game design that I can put together. No, instead I sit around thinking, ooh, let's put out this kind of video for the Dice Tower. Let's do this. Oh, I bet people would love to do this. Ooh, let's play some of these new games and compare them to each other. That is my true passion, and that's what I want to do. So when you say, why is Tom not designed another game? Well, that's because I really, really like working on the Dice Tower. It's a lot of fun for me. So anyhow, I hope that you guys have fun with your passions. For some of you, your passion may not even be involved in board gaming, and you do board gaming as a side hobby, and that's fantastic. And I think that we always have to be careful not to look at someone who, board gaming isn't your love of your life? Pfft, who do you think you are? Well, no, that's nothing, right? Board gaming doesn't have to be everyone's focal point. It could be video games. It could be music. It could be all sorts of things. Find your passion and follow it.
Hello everyone, my name is Annette, and you may know me as Netter's Plays. And today on Applied Mechanics, I'm going to go over the game of Sentient. So this game has a lot of different mechanisms like set collection, dice manipulation, and area control. So let me show you a little bit about this game and what I really like. Players are going to try to collect these different bots or cards and add them onto their network, which is their player area. When you want to procure or collect a bot, you place one of your agents above one of the bots that you want to collect. You can also add any one of these assistants in order to gain influence around these areas, which are important at the end of the round. When you collect your bot, then you get to add it to your network. When you add a bot to your network, you're then going to calibrate, meaning that according to the symbol that's at the corner of each card, that's going to either keep the same value or change the value of your dice. When you're calibrating and you don't want to change the value to the die, then you can always place an assistant on your symbol in order to cancel out that calibration. At the end of the round, you're going to score your cards. You'll then apply the value of the dice to the equation on each card. If it meets that criteria, then you're going to score the points on the bottom of the card. Players will also score investors based on majority. Since both players are here, then whoever has the most agents will score this investor, while the second place player will take the point. These investors are important because at the end of the game, however many investors you have that will act as a multiplier to the number of cards of that type that you've collected. Everything will reset, and then you play a total of 3 rounds. Whoever scores the most points wins. So as you can see, this game unites all these different mechanisms and creates an innovative puzzle for every player. And that's what I really enjoy about this game, because you are not only trying to decide which card to take from the factory, but also how many agents you're going to add to that card, because it's an area control game. Once you acquire the card, then you have to play it in your player area, and then you're going to have to figure out which die you're going to change. Or you can place an agent on that. So agents are very important. And the cool thing on top of that is at the end of the game, it's all about set collection. So that's why I really like Sentient. Well, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye!
Hi, I'm Anthony.
And I'm Francis.
And welcome to another edition of AntLab Games Office Hours.
A segment where we talk about the finer points of board gaming.
All right, so what do you want to talk about this week?
I think this week we'll talk about something near and dear to my heart. Board game organization.
Oh, all right. Well, then let's just jump right in and start with box organization.
Perfect. Right, because you will get your board games in a variety of different ways.
Right.
Some are very organized and some are not.
Mm-hmm.
So...
managing your board game boxes can be quite a challenge. If you're lucky enough to have baggies, they usually will suffice. If not, we've found that using these Plano boxes is great for setup, takedown, and to have open during play. And if you've got the budget, these premium, custom-made wooden inserts are the best.
2. Play surface.
Nice.
If your coffee table's too tiny, you could buy an expensive board gaming table, but if you're handy, you can create your own removable tabletop for a fraction of the cost. All you need is a piece of plywood, quilter's batting, and your fabric of choice. Be sure to check the fabric store's discount section, where you can often pick up a few yards of fabric for less than $20. A little spray adhesive and a stapler, and you're good to go.
All right, how about player boards? Sometimes managing your player boards can be almost as challenging as managing your game boxes. Some games come with player boards that are already dual layered and accommodate player components. However, for those that don't, we tend to want to use these wonderful acrylic overlays, if you have the budget. And finally?
All right, so the question we get asked at least a couple times a week. How do you store your chits? What are those things you use? There are a variety of chit storage options, but we find these bead organizers perfect for every game we play. They cost about $5 for a pack of 6, although you can buy value packs of about $30 for under $20 at any hobby or craft store, and even online. The craft store's plastic storage aisle is actually a haven for chit storage organization. All right, well that's all the time we have for today. Hopefully you found those helpful.
Right, so I'm Anthony.
And I'm Francis.
From AntLab Games, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.
Happy breakfast, everybody. Today I'm here to talk to you about 2 games that I think are the opposite ends of the theming spectrum when it comes to the components and what that brings to the theme. Now, don't get me wrong, you can't always confuse components with theme, but sometimes things really add or really draw from the experience. First up is Ice Cool. Sounds a bit like high school, and that's because you're flicking penguins around this school. And the components don't let you forget this. You're trying to collect fish. It is about flicking something, so you could easily just be flicking a disc and it wouldn't be as fun. But the fact it's penguins and it's around a school with a canteen and stuff like that, it's just a bit more fun. At the other end of the spectrum is Lords of Waterdeep. Now, I really enjoy Lords of Waterdeep. I think it's a great sort of entry-level worker placement game. I like the D&D theme. I even like the artwork for the sort of adventure cards that you're doing. They match the theme well because they are the adventures you're going on. And then it's the cubes. The cubes just kill the theming because apart from maybe the wizards and the warriors, I can't even remember what the other colours represent. They are just cubes. And that gets away from sending that party of adventurers away to do the objective. And that really drags the theme down for me. So yes, I know, components don't always mean theme, but certainly in these games, one where you've got a penguin you're flicking around rather than just a disc, compared to something that is just a cube supposedly representing something else, they can tarnish or improve and keep reminding you of the theme and keeping you sort of remembering what the game is all about. Anyway, there's 2 examples. Let me know if you agree in the comment section below, and I'm Oliver East, signing out.
Have you ever thought about the story that's playing out while you're playing these different board games that we enjoy? Hi, I'm Chris Renshaw from the Boards and Swords podcast, and welcome to Role Playing. A couple weeks ago, I was playing the game Dinosaur Island, and it's kind of a, it's a worker placement game. It's got some theme on it, and, you basically summarize it by saying it's Jurassic Park, the board game. Well, as I was playing this, one of the big things you have to worry about in the game is there's 2 tracks. You've got your threat, and then you've got your security. And if your security is not as high as your threat, the dinosaurs will break out and start eating people. So as I was playing this game, because I was building up all these dinosaurs, because that's what attracts people to your park, my threat meter was getting really high. And I wasn't able to put enough points into getting my security up. So I had several times where I had dinosaurs breaking out and eating people. And it got me to thinking, because one of the other mechanics in the game is that only you can attract so many people, but only so many people can get in based on the number of spots, like worker placement spots that you have available. So I was just sitting there thinking, and then I was like, there are people waiting at the door of this theme park that over the past weeks, days, dinosaurs have been breaking out and killing people. It's like 6 people have died from dinosaurs breaking out in this theme park, but yet there is a line at the door, people getting turned away that can't get in. And it was just one of those kind of fully feeling out the theme of that game that just made me kind of laugh a little bit. And so I was curious if anybody else ever found themselves thinking about the story behind their games. So let me know down in the comments below if this has ever happened to you. And in the meantime, make sure you follow me on all the different social media channels, subscribe to my YouTube channel and OCDcast, and may all your hits be crits.
Hey gang, and welcome to Tantrum House HQ. I'm Will Meadows.
And I'm Ryan Pills, and today on the Throwdown, we've got Small World from Days of Wonder in the red corner,
and Moa from Ape Games in the blue corner. Moa from designer Martin Wallace is a 2 to 5 player area control game which retells the story of New Zealand's invasion by settlers from overseas. In the game, players act as Maori, playing their hand of awesomely illustrated bird cards to populate and fortify different areas of the board, purchase powerful Karakia tiles, and defend their territories. Each round, new mammal cards are flipped and either add incoming invaders, cause those invaders to attack, or cause the volcano's level to increase. The cards also determine which areas of the board players are allowed to be active in. Scoring takes place at both the halfway point and at the end of the game, and the player to exert the most influence on the board and gain the most victory points wins.
Small World from designer Philippe Kiertz is a 2 to 5 player area control game filled with a host of fantastic characters. At the beginning of the game, players select a race and special power combination, and then collect a specific number of tiles. Players then deploy their troop tiles to overtake terrain. Players take turns spreading out their forces across the board and overtaking one another. Each round, players collect victory coins based on the number of territories they control, and after 10 rounds, the players with the most points wins.
Alright, so we're looking at 2 different area control games. What's your favorite part of Small World?
I really like how strategic Small World is. There isn't really any luck, except whether you have the right number of coins to get that perfect combination of race and special ability. What's your take on Moa?
I like Moa a lot. There is a tiny bit more luck in it because there is that hand of cards that you use, but all the symbols on those are very similar, so it's really balanced, and I actually kind of like that it adds another layer to just the area control aspect of the game. I also super love the art in this, although in truth I love that one as well.
Yeah, I really like how it gives it a very goofy feel to the Small World art.
Yeah.
Let us know which one is your favorite in the comments, and be sure to subscribe to help us reach our goal of 10,000 subscribers.
Spring is sprung and the grass is riz, so let's see what the state of the archives is. Hello Internet, Amy here from Snakes and Lattes. We talked a lot about the archives in the past, mostly about how we decide what games to put in the archives. So in honor of Spring Cleaning Month, we tackle a question that may seem antithetical to a game collector. How do we decide when to remove a game from the archives permanently? Our collection is a living entity. When new games get added, and if they're popular enough, they displace older games, which get added to our archives. But our archives are not some unlimited space or infinite bag of holding. They're a finite space, which requires occasional purging. So how do we do it? The first thing we ask ourselves about a game in the archives is it complete? If it isn't, and there's a duplicate in the library, it's a parts copy. But if the game is unique and incomplete, then it's wasting space and gets tossed. Even if a game isn't ready for the trash heap, that doesn't guarantee it a permanent spot. There's a few questions we still need to ask ourselves about games in the archives. Is it rare? Is it useful? And is it good? If a game ticks any of these boxes, we'll probably keep it. Useful games include duplicates of popular games we have on the shelf, or games we might want to send to a new location. Rare games command a high price on auction sites or have some cultural significance. We have Avalon Hill's Dune in our archives. Nobody ever plays it, but we have it. Even good games sometimes get archived. An amazing award-winning game that doesn't get taken off the shelf that often isn't going to stay in the library for long. But if a game is good enough, we might hang on to it for a variety of reasons. Firstly, a guest might ask for it. We have hanging gardens in our archives because while it might not warrant a space on the wall, enough people ask for it that it makes sense to keep it. Secondly, a game will get resurrected from the archives from time to time. If an out-of-print title on the wall dies, we need to fill its spot. Sometimes that spot goes to a newer title, but every once in a while, a game claws its way out of the archives to live again. So what do we do with the games we purge? Well, if we purge a game that's broken down, we usually toss it out. But if a game is still playable, we offer it to staff. Games that aren't taken by staff are also offered to charities. Down the street from Snakes and Lattes Annex is a First Nations youth center that usually receives a lot of the games we no longer have use for. Other charities we suggest would be women's shelters, homeless shelters, or even school board game clubs. Remember, just because you don't want a game anymore doesn't mean it can't make a great addition to someone else's collection.
Hello, my name's Dan, and this is Cora, and we're here today to talk to you about children's games for young children. So, what are we going to talk about today, Cora?
Spinderella.
Spinderella!
Spinderella is a race game where the players are trying to be the first to get all 3 of their ants across the forest floor. They have to be quick though, as they need to get across before the spider swoops down to get them. In the game, the player rolls a dice to see whether they'll be moving one of their ants or the spider. The spider moves via clever magnet and pulley systems suspended above the board, which, while it's a bit of a gimmick, works really well. This is basically a roll and move game, although there are some decisions to be made. There's also a bit of a take that mechanism, where you get to move a tree trunk around and stop your opponent's ants moving. It's a fun kids game, and it's one Cora keeps asking to play ever since we bought it.
So Cora, what do you think about Spinderella?
It's quite good actually. It's good that the look of getting the ants.
Yeah.
And it's really good because there's this tree trunk, but that's bad because the spiders are more likely to get you.
Yeah, you don't want to get the tree trunk, isn't it? Because the spiders will not like to get you. It's got magnets in. We like a game with magnets.
Yeah.
We do. And it takes a little bit of kind of working out how to manipulate the 2 spiders in order to raise and lower the other spider on the string, which I think is quite good, really. Something I enjoy.
Well, there's a short version. This is probably a picture of the short version.
Yeah.
And there's a long version on the other side.
Yeah. So, we give Spinderella 2 tickle spiders thumbs up.
Right, so this week I'm going to talk to you about one of my favourite card games, called President. It has other names, but I'm not saying them here. Big no. Quick history, President is originally a Japanese card game according to the internet, and there are a few commercial versions of it out that exist if you hate regular cards. President is a shedding card game, so you're going to want to get rid of all your cards as quick as possible. But it doesn't end when the one person goes out, everybody goes out eventually, and you're given rolls for the next round determined on where you finish. Now, I absolutely do not have enough time to tell you all the rules to the game President, but I will tell you it's a great game. Oh yeah, some of the cards have different abilities, and if you win the hand, you become the president. If you lose the hand, you become a dirty word most of the time, and you have to give your best card to the president, and the president gives his worst card or her worst card to you, which sucks. Also, if you lose, you're going to have to deal. But President is a simple card game that you can play over and over again, all night, possibly while drinking an incredible amount. It is sometimes played as a drinking game. Apparently, I would have no knowledge about that at all. But it's best played round the kitchen table, Merle Haggard on the radio, some dogs barking, raining outside, just with a bunch of friends. President, try it. It's a great card game. And I'll be back next week, perhaps with another great card game. Who knows? I can't predict the future. Anything could happen. I mean, it's just a meteorite could happen. That could be a thing. Anything could happen. You know, there's no way I can know.
Hi Tom, this is Stephen Potterbaugh coming to you from just north of Dayton, Ohio. And today I want to talk to you a little bit about why I think you're wrong. Tom, there's something wrong with your attitude. Now, in general, we get along. I've met you a couple times. We get along really well. I love most everything about your attitude. But there's one thing, and that's you're too humble. Now, humbleness in general is a great thing, and don't get me wrong. I'd rather you be too humble than too arrogant, of course. But being too humble is also a little bit detrimental. See, it was recently you said something along the lines of, when talking about the local game stores around Dayton, you said, I don't expect them to know who I am when I walk in. Well, maybe just my opinion, but a friendly local game store that works in the board game industry should know who some of the players are. They should be able to tell me if I want to watch a playthrough of a game. I can go to Tabletop with Will Wheaton, or I can go to Rado Runs Through. Or if I want to see an instructional video, maybe I'll go watch it played with Rodney Smith. Or if I want to watch any of this stuff, or reviews, or I want to watch top 10 lists, or anything like that, to learn more about these games they're selling, I can go to the Dice Tower, featuring Tom Vasel in a lot of cases. I know you don't consider yourself a celebrity, now, but when you're in the niche market, like board gaming, the board game stores should know who you are. This isn't Target, this isn't any of these department stores that might sell board games on occasion where you expect all the employees and everybody walking down the street to know who you are. But when you go into a board game store, they say, oh look, there's somebody that really promotes our product, and we should know who they are. So, feel free to take it with a grain of salt. I love the Dice Tower, I love all that you guys do. So if you change or not, I'm still going to love all that you do. But Tom, you're wrong with your humble attitude. Anyway, that's what Steven says. Peace out.
Okay, well, I hesitated putting that clip on the show because it's like a humble brag type thing. Yes, I am so very humble. But I wanted to talk a little bit about this, and I really I think it's important to attempt to be humble, if some degree. Sometimes you have to toot your own horn, but I don't really like doing it. But I also really don't think everyone should know who I am in the gaming industry. For one thing, when you meet somebody who is quote unquote famous, you may not even know who they are anyway. I spent some time this past week talking to some people at our game store and explaining to them about all these different games and talk to them. And at the very end, one guy came back and says, are you on the internet? And then they recognized me, and it was afterwards. So that first impression, and I don't, a game employee might be a Magic the Gathering fan or whatever, and they might not know me. So I definitely do not expect game store owners or employees to recognize me anywhere, and I never will expect that. I'm sorry, I'm just going to have to disagree on this one. And I don't think that I'm that important. I think that the Dice Tower certainly helps sell board games and helps promote the hobby. And I think that the Dice Tower is an important thing for the hobby. But I don't think it's the important thing. And I definitely don't think I'm anything important. And I'm working very hard to make my position at the Dice Tower redundant, where I'm not needed for the Dice Tower, where other people can be involved and do things. If I disappear from the Dice Tower for a month and everyone else does their jobs and does their things, it should still run and function. Anyway, that's the last Tom is Wrong clip I have. I need more of them, folks. Come on. You know I'm wrong about something. Send in your clips and I'll play them on the show. Hey, there is not many rooms left for the Dice Tower Cruise. There is not many spots left for Dice Tower Con. Why are you not coming to Dice Tower Con? It is the best convention of the year by far, and it is only a couple months away. Folks, we're going to have live events there. We're going to have special guests there. There is all the gaming you can do. You can game 24 hours a day. Our library never closes once the convention starts. There's fantastic games, hot games there. You can play games with designers. You can play games with all the different people in the Dice Tower. So many folks from the Dice Tower, from us involved, are going to be there, and I want to see you there. So, well, that's right, Melody is running the camera, and she's going to be there for the first time in a few years, so she's excited about that. Anyway, thanks so much for watching Board Game Breakfast. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel. We'll see you.